The views and opinions shared on Taken Too Soon are those of the guest and don't necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the host and contributors. This podcast discusses mature themes and may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Season 2 of Taken Too Soon, the podcast where we explore unsolved mysteries and honor lives that ended far too early.
This season, we will tell the story of Holly Fox Strickland, a young mother from Oakwood, Georgia, whose life was tragically cut short in February of 2014. What happened to Holly has left a family in mourning and a community with more questions than answers. But this isn't just a story about a mysterious death. It's about who Holly was, a daughter, a mother, a friend.
In this first episode, we'll lay the groundwork for the season, walk you through the timeline of Holly's disappearance, what we know so far, and who you'll be hearing from in the coming weeks.
And later in the episode, we'll shift our focus to Holly herself, because before we talk about what happened, we want you to understand who she was. It was early February 2014 in Oakwood, Georgia, a small residential town in Hall County. On the surface, things were quiet, normal. But behind one home in the Raintree Trace subdivision, something unthinkable had taken place.
32-year-old Holly Strickland was reported missing on February 3rd. At first, there wasn't panic. Holly had gone quiet before, a missed phone call, a couple days without contact, but this time felt different. Holly's mother, Wilma Patterson, had a feeling that something was amiss when she heard that Holly was missing. She knew that if Holly's children were at home, that Holly had to be close by.
She said her car's here and her purse is here, but she's not here. And I said, Holly ain't gonna leave them kids. And she said, no, she never would, and she didn't.
There was also the fact that her keys, wallet, and car were all still at the residence.
Just days earlier, Holly had been actively searching for a new apartment, looking to make a fresh start for herself and her children. Those close to her said she was ready to change her living situation and move forward. She was making plans, not disappearing.
She was actually coming up the Saturday, February the 8th, and we were going to look for places to rent. She was waiting on her W-2s, and she had just got them and printed them off the day that she had went missing.
By February 5th, the Hall County Sheriff's Office had launched an official missing persons investigation. Her family's concern had turned into dread.
3 days later, on February 8th, their fears were confirmed. Holly's body was found behind her own home.
She had been shot. Her body was discovered in a wooded area not far behind her back door. It was a spot she often went to at night to take phone calls, trying not to wake her kids. A quiet patch of woods that had once been her refuge.
And her phone? It was missing, never recovered.
The early days of the investigation were tense. Holly's family felt the initial investigation had been lacking. They felt evidence wasn't correctly handled, that the crime scene hadn't been thoroughly contained when Holly was found, and that her case wasn't getting the attention they felt it deserved.
Well, he kept telling me the whole time he had the case, see, this is my first murder case. See, this is my first murder case. And I had it with that. And I said, well, guess what? It's my first murder case too, and I can guarantee you I don't want another one. But you're planning on making your living at doing this.
Those feelings were all but confirmed in their minds when the initial Hall County investigator assigned to Holly's case was terminated from the sheriff's office just over a year later. But still, no progress was made. We'll have more on what happened to the initial investigator in a later episode.
And then there were the family dynamics. Holly's relationship with her in-laws, Danny and Angie Baker, was known to be complicated and at times contentious. Those close to her say there was tension.
Logan said just the other day that they were not good to him and they weren't good to his mom. The only one they cared about was McKenna. And that's the impression I got, is they didn't treat her very well.
Police searched for answers and suspects, but nothing obvious stood out. No arrests were made. The case was open, but quickly became cold.
The family even reached out to a pair of private investigators to help find answers in the case, but despite their best efforts, little has ever been found to bring Holly's killer to justice.
Despite 11 years passing with no arrests, the sheriff's office still considers Holly's case active. Before we go further, we want to pause and focus on Holly herself, because when someone's life is taken, their identity can too easily become wrapped up in the mystery of their death. But Holly was so much more than what happened to her.
Holly Fox Strickland was born December 19, 1981 in Blue Ridge, Georgia. Friends and family described Holly as lively, compassionate, someone who'd always show up for the people she cared about.
We sat down with Holly's mother, Wilma, and her sister, Angela, at the Gilmer County Library in Ellijay to learn more about Holly's life. So tell us about when you found out you were pregnant with Holly.
It was in May, I believe it was, because it was right after Easter. We had to go to Blue Ridge because there was no baby doctors here in LJ. And I remember thinking, this one's got to be a boy. I wanted a boy so bad. But she wasn't. And we liked her anyway. But I remember Angela was thrilled that she was going to have a baby sister or baby brother. It wasn't anything, out of the ordinary. It was just a smooth pregnancy. And she was born December 19th. And when I went to the hospital to have her, her doctor had on Mickey Mouse ears because he was at a children's party. And 3 years before, he had to leave another Christmas party because hers is the 22nd of December. And she had hair down to her shoulders, and it was just in curls. And when she was in the nursery, they had put a big red bow in her hair, and somebody had cut him a curl. They didn't know why they had cut her hair. And he said, there's not been a staph infection or anything. And I said, well, you can see. And he said, oh my gosh, I don't know why they would cut her hair, but they had cut a curl out of her hair. And it never came out. It just turned red. And it looked like she was going gray. And she looked funny with hair down to here and her tiny,
How did you land on the name Holly?
I didn't name her. My dad and my sister named her. My daddy liked the name Holly. My sister was told she couldn't have children. She asked if she could name her Patricia. And we did. And then she did get pregnant, I guess about 4 years after Holly was born. I didn't name either one of them, actually. Her daddy named her. And then my daddy and my sister named Holly. She walked when she was about 9 months old to keep up with Angela.
Tell them about when you called and told me it was a girl.
I did. I called her from the hospital and told her we had a baby sister. And she said, and I told you I didn't want no sister. And she hung up. She was furious because she didn't have no brother.
So, Angela, do you remember having memories of first seeing Holly when she was born?
I remember her jet black hair. It was just stuck up everywhere. She looked like she had spikes in her hair or something.
Like Bert and Ernie.
I remember the crying.
Oh,
Remember I asked Patsy, why can't she just shush? I remember she had asthma a lot. She was sick a lot.
She was, and she was born with colic, and Angela would sing to her, and I would rock. It seemed like I rocked for years. I mean, just constantly. And she'd finally go to sleep, and about the time she'd go to sleep, it'd be time for me to get up and go to work. I was like, oh. I was like a zombie for, I guess, about a year.
What kind of temperament did she have as a baby?
She was sweet. I mean, when she wasn't sick or anything, she didn't cry. She was like a happy baby. And she was easygoing, and she wasn't a leader. She was a follower. If you wanted to do this, she'd do this. If you wanted to do that, she'd do that with you, But she was more of a follower than she was a leader. And like I said, she walked when she was 9 months old to keep up with Angela because everywhere she went, she thought she had to go.
And how was that for you as a sister, having a little sister following you around everywhere you went?
At the time, I thought it was really annoying because I wanted to go do my own thing, and here she is, this tiny little doll walking behind me, wait for me.
As she was growing up, kind of what things was she interested in?
She liked to cook.
Books, computers.
I started to say books and
school.
computers.
She loved school.
Yes.
She liked romance books.
Yes, she did.
She liked the mystery, suspense books, but romance was her genre.
I remember coming in from work one evening and I welded. And the first thing you want to do is to get a shower and get that off of you. And I couldn't get in the bathroom to take my shower because she was in there taking a bath, reading a book, and eating peanuts. And I'm like pounding on the door, get out of there. And she liked teaching. I mean, took computer classes at the high school, and she would help other students that couldn't do it. And her teacher was fine with that, because I guess they'd be like me. I'm like, oh, it's when they first came out, and I was at a bad disadvantage because we used them a lot in work, but it was just like she just had a knack for them. And she could make things like crafts and stuff. And I don't know where she got that because I have no talent whatsoever. But she could, well, she was a deli manager and she decorated cakes and stuff at Kroger. She could crochet, but I never could do any of that. And I know her daddy couldn't. He couldn't do anything either.
You said she liked to cook. Do you have any good stories about like maybe a time she cooked where, I don't know, maybe she did something wrong, did the recipe wrong?
She was a baker. A baker. She could bake cakes, pies, cookies. Cooking, on the other hand,
Right.
was a little more challenging for her.
When she was pregnant with Logan, oh my gosh, all she wanted was Chinese food. Oh my word.
And Sonic.
And Sonic.
I still worked at Beaulieu at the time when she was pregnant with Logan. So she would call me, and I didn't get off till like 11, and she would call the work phone and be like, hey, can you stop by Sonic and get me a foot-long coney and some cheesy tots?
This was some kind of stir fry. And oh my God.
She put way too much soy
Yes,
sauce.
it was
I mean, it was like,
every day.
she's like, here, try it, it's good. And I mean, soy sauce is like that. And I'm like, you want a little vegetables with your soy
Did you show any of
sauce?
the vegetables? Just turn the bottle up.
Oh, she loved that stuff. She thought that was good. I'm like, no.
She ate it every day.
No.
Well, maybe once, a week or a month.
The more soy sauce, the better.
It was every day.
But I mean, she would share.
Yeah. Hearted with it.
Oh, here, get you some. I'm good.
No.
Did she have a sense of style?
Very
Yes.
much.
Well, how would you describe it?
Very preppy, dressy.
Yes.
She looked good. Yeah. She liked to look good.
She was always look nice. I mean,
Yes.
put together, I guess you'd call it.
Dressy.
Yes. And she didn't have a lot of clothes, but she had good clothes that she could like interchange. And
she loved her bubble vest.
yes.
I guess that's how she relaxed and unwound.
I guess so. And I remember taking her to some of her friends when she was in school. And I can't remember if it was for a little birthday party or she was going to spend the night or something. And the little girl's grandmother was there and she said, oh, your clothes are nice and ironed. I thought, okay, but Holly, she wanted her clothes just immaculate. She didn't want wrinkles in them. She didn't want even a little speck, it was just, she had to be a certain way. And like she said, she looked good. I mean, she knew how to wear clothes.
How was she? Was she ever wild, like growing up in high school, or just pretty much by the book kind of?
Yeah, well, she actually graduated a little early. She got out of school a little early, and then they were on like a quarter system, and she didn't have to go but like half a quarter, and she did come to the library, which it wasn't here then. It was at the high school, and she'd go up there and get books, and I remember her reading books.
She wasn't ever a partier.
Mm-mm.
She was like a social butterfly, but she didn't drink. She didn't do drugs she done that when she was older, but not during high school. And
She
didn't care for that lifestyle. She was really quiet, reserved, shy.
And from what I'm getting, like with the reading and all that, and like really into school, was she pretty proud of herself that she was able to graduate early?
Yeah. She was proud of the fact that she got to do it early and that she graduated.
And she was very smart. She graduated with honors. I mean,
Did she ever have like dreams of going to college or anything like that?
she never mentioned college to me. I mean, I told both of them, I said, if you go to college, I said, you'll have to get good grades. I said, because it's just me, And I said, there's no way I could afford college. And they had the grades, both of them, but she just never really seemed that interested in going.
She seemed much more interested in having her own family. And
I think so. I think she was just more interested in, what came next. And I guess she'd get tired of going to school. And she always said, she'd take a while off or whatever, but she had no intentions of going to college. She just, I don't know, I think she just wanted to live a little.
Hey, true crime junkies of North Georgia, are you aware of what's going on around you? Find out by signing up for our free newsletters from the Times. You'll get local news in your inbox daily, including at least one free article a day about what's happening in Hall County. And now back to the show.
She was a mother. Her children were the crux of her world.
At what age was she when she had her first child? And what was it like becoming a grandparent?
Well, he's not the first grandchild. Hers is the first grandchild, but he was in the house with me. She was excited. The first thing she bought was a silver frame that had baby on it, and she wanted a boy so bad. And she got her boy, and he looked a lot like her with the black curly hair. And she sat and held him constantly after he was born. She had health issues with her kidneys. They had to put a stent in her kidney, and the tube that drained into her bladder, or whichever way it went, it was grown at the top of her kidney instead of the bottom. And it was like her kidney was just pickled. And they did surgery when she was pregnant with him to reattach it to the bottom and see if they could get it to work. And the whole time she was pregnant, she had a stent in her kidney, in her back. She had to wear a bag for a while to see if the kidney would even drain into it, and it wouldn't. And they finally wound up removing her kidney, but she was terrified to death that something would be wrong with him because they had done surgery twice on her while she was pregnant. She just knew, that the medicine they had given her was going to affect him. They actually took him early, about 3 weeks early, because the weight on that kidney and the stent in it was really messing with the kidney. She had to go and have a
amniocentesis.
That's it. I can't say it. But anyway, they did that test on a Saturday, and they said that his lungs were developed enough to go ahead and take him because he was 7 pounds and something, and she wasn't big at all. She was little. It was just too much for her kidney. Then he was born on Monday evening, and she was thrilled to death. And she was just like, well, I said, he's yours. You can touch him, when they laid him on her chest. She was just like in awe, and it was just like, oh, he's going to break. And she was just like barely touching him. And she was so thrilled.
And did you see like a marked difference in like just her after she had her first child?
Yeah. She, I don't know, it was just like she was calmer or something. She was just, there was nobody else in the world but her and him. I mean, that was it. And she sat and held him from the time he woke up till the time he went to sleep. And she would sit and hold him while he was sleeping.
That's why he's spoiled.
It is.
But she found out she was pregnant in October. We had planned a trip to the zoo. I think it was like October the 4th or something. And she had found out, and she had told me the day before we went to the zoo, she had took me to work. She's like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. And I thought she was just joking. And she's like, no, I'm serious. So then she shows me like 3 or 4 pregnancy tests. I'm like, how many did you take? She's like, oh, this ain't all of them. These are just all the ones that I brought. And I'm like, good Lord, one would have sufficed. But she was so excited. And when we went to the zoo, we stopped and ate like every hour. It seemed like, I was like, good Lord, girl. You're already eating for 2, like you were really pregnant.
So from what I've understood is like family meant a lot to her.
Yes.
And is that something that you think that she grew up with? Like was your family pretty tight?
Well, it was just me and the 2 girls because we had divorced. Me and their daddy had divorced when Angela was,
I think I was
8
6
or 9. No, you were 8 or 9.
I was in first grade.
So it was just basically me and the 2 girls, and Papa and Granny.
And Patsy and Charlie.
And Patsy and Charlie. So we were pretty tight.
So do you think because of that tightness that you guys had as she was growing up, do you think that's why she was so tight with her own family when she had her own family?
I think she wanted that more than anything in the world.
I think that played a big role. And then she just wanted the closeness of her own family.
She wanted her own, yeah.
Did she say how many kids she wanted to have?
She was done. She was done.
The two was enough. And if she'd had that little girl first, she wouldn't have had no more, I don't think. She was a corker.
So what was it like when she found out she was pregnant for the second time?
She was shocked.
Yeah, she really was. She wasn't,
expecting to be pregnant, but she was super, super excited. Every doctor's appointment, she called with an update, every ultrasound.
And when she found out it was a girl, she was excited.
She was very excited.
Did you notice the change from when you're a new parent the first time around and you're running around like your head's on fire?
Yeah. It was a lot calmer. Yes. And she didn't have as many health issues with McKenna as she did with Logan. Right. But by that time, she was a pro.
When Logan was born, my sister's daughter had her baby. She was absolutely terrified. And she would call Holly to come up there and help her. And here's Holly with a 3-week-old, a baby in each arm, and my sister's daughter sitting on the couch, squalling her eyes out. And Holly's just like, it's nothing,
It just came natural.
It just came natural to her. She was just a natural-born mama. I had to work every minute I could just to provide for them. And I didn't get the chance to do the things I wanted to with them. And I always felt like I was coming up short. And when I would see her with McKenna and Logan, it was like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be like. And it was just like she had always had them, and never missed a beat. It was just like, wow. And it was, like I said, it was just like she had always had them. And it was just smooth sailing,
She was a good mom.
She was a good mom.
Wasn't she? Very good mom. She was a caretaker.
She was. She took care of people.
Is there a memory that comes back that illustrates that kind-hearted caretaker nature?
Some girl she worked with at one of the Krogers, Holly would get up and take her to work. And Holly would have to be at work herself, and if that girl didn't have a way to work, she would call Holly. And Holly would get up out of the bed and go and take that girl to work and go back home. That same girl, she didn't have a car, and she was saying something about she didn't even have the money for a Christmas tree for their kids. And Holly went to a thrift store and bought her Christmas tree and decorations for her kids. And it's just things like that, and she didn't expect anything in return.
Whenever Holly and Dusty separated, he was with another girl. Holly would take them groceries. The girl got a really bad toothache, and Holly took her antibiotics and Noragel and food, and the girl was very appreciative. I think she even mentioned it on another show or something about how she couldn't believe, here she is with the girl's husband, and she's taking care of her.
Could you imagine doing anything like that?
I would not. I'm not that person.
I just took care of that tooth.
Yeah.
That kind of a story, was that kind of commonplace for her? Like she would just do those kind of things like all the time. And was that something that you saw when she was little and it just kept going, or?
Yes. I mean, she was
just giving, and it didn't matter what she had. If
she would put herself last.
Yeah. She would do without to give it to somebody else. I remember she came home from school one time all upset because somebody didn't have a coat. She just was furious because I wouldn't let her give the little girl her coat. And I said, but you only have one coat, Holly. And she said, but she don't have any. And I said, well, if you give her your coat, you're not going to have any. So we went to a thrift store, and she picked her out a coat and took it to school. And she was like maybe 10 or 11 then. And she's just always been, I don't know, just free-hearted and just kind. Everything I'm not.
And despite the ups and downs of life, like so many of us, she always tried to keep moving forward. She worked a mix of jobs over the years. What else did she do other than working at the deli at Kroger?
Yeah, we worked together at Beaulieu.
It was in the yarn department.
No, we was Creelers.
Creelers. Yeah. They hung the yarn to make the carpet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We was the krill crew. And then they actually started a weekend crew, and she was the krill boss.
Yeah, she was krill boss.
She went to the weekend crew, and I stayed on regular shift.
Yeah, she, as a sister, like, what's kind of maybe your fondest memory of Holly and you growing up as sisters?
Just playing outside. I mean, we grew up poor. We didn't have anything. We just played outside all the time, build forts and play in the dirt.
Playhouse.
Yeah, we did have a playhouse. We would cook dirt pies, try to feed them to each other.
And decorated them with snowball bush blossoms.
Yeah.
Did either of you ever eat one?
Of
I
course.
think I made her eat one.
Yeah.
I was the oldest. I was the bully.
Right.
I do have a really fond memory of when we were working together at Beaulieu. We were on the same krill crew because we were really fast and, got the job done. So we were up there and the yarn was in the buggy and she was at the back flirting with the Hyster driver. So I had already got all of the yarn that I could reach because I would get on one side and she would get on one side and we'd just, go straight down the krill racks. Well, she was back there flirting with the Hyster driver. So I had done and had reached, all the yarn that I could. So there was cardboard between the layers. So I would bump it and, roll some more off. The longer she was back there, the madder I was getting. So finally I reach and grab the cardboard and I just jerk it and it rips. And I hit myself right here and black both of my eyes. So I scream at her, would you quit flirting and get up here? She finally comes over there and starts helping. But I had 2 black eyes because she was flirting.
Hey listeners, Stacy Smith here, co-host of the News and Brews podcast from The Times. While Taken Too Soon dives deep into Hall County's unsolved past, News and Brews keeps you up to speed on what's happening now. Join me and Shannon Casas for quick local news you can trust in the time it takes to grab your morning coffee. Search News and Brews Hall County wherever you get your podcasts or find the link in our show notes. Now back to the show.
She faced her own challenges, yes, but there was nothing in the past that suggested something like this could happen.
Did Holly have a lot of friends at the Kroger? And
Oh, Lord, yes. At her funeral, they were just bussing people in, of all the people that she worked with and just associated with.
There was 2 busloads of
Yeah,
that
people from
gathered
Kroger.
From Kroger.
what do you think it was about Holly that would inspire 2 busloads of people to come?
I mean, no matter what you needed, she was there. If you needed a hug, she was there to give you a hug. If you needed advice, she was there to give you advice. If you just needed to just sit and nobody say anything, she was there for that too. I mean, people loved her. She had such a sweet personality.
She was a good person. I mean, truly good.
Is there anything else that you guys might want to share about who Holly was?
It didn't matter if it was old people or kids. She got along with them and she could sit and talk to them for hours,
You could always count on her to make you feel better, no matter what kind of day you were having.
Yeah.
And that went for anybody. I mean, people were just drawn to her because she had a calming presence about her. I don't know what that was.
It's just the essence of her, I guess. I don't know. It's just...
I mean, you could be upset or you could be mad and she just walks in all freely and smiling and you couldn't help but be happy.
What brought her to Oakwood?
Dusty.
Yes. McKenna's daddy.
Did you hear that disdain? Should I spit after?
Yes. There's a can right there.
Just kidding.
And kind of what was her life like in Oakwood?
Busy. I think they had Logan signed up for different
He was in karate.
after school stuff.
Yeah. He was in Boy Scouts. He was in karate and
then she worked. And then on the weekends, I think Dusty played softball at the time.
mm-hmm.
So it was, I guess, hectic
Yeah, it sounds
with
like
2
it
kids
would be.
and
Yeah.
a full-time job. And
In many ways, Holly's life was modest and grounded, and that's what makes her death all the more chilling. This wasn't a known criminal or someone living on the edge. Holly was someone who could have been your neighbor, your friend.
So what happened in those final days before her death? Who might have wanted to hurt Holly, and why? The investigation started fast and then slowed. Detectives followed multiple leads, spoke to dozens of people, but still no suspect has ever been charged.
Over the next several episodes, we'll walk you through the details of the investigation, the timelines, the theories, the people involved, and what's happened in the years since. And we'll keep coming back to Holly, the woman at the center of this case, because the longer the case goes unsolved, the more important it is to remember what's at stake: a life cut short and a family still waiting for justice.
If you have any information about the murder of Holly Fox Strickland, we urge you to contact law enforcement or email podcastadmin@gainesvilletimes.com. That's podcastadmin@gainesvilletimes.com, or submit an anonymous tip.
The music in this podcast was by Ben Ingram.
If you like the Taken Too Soon podcast, be sure to give us a rating wherever you listen. Next time on Taken Too Soon, we'll talk to Holly's son Logan and his father, Frank De La Rosa, about who Holly was, how they learned about Holly's tragic end, and how the murder of Holly has affected them over the years.
But for now, we'll leave you with this question: what happened to Holly Fox Strickland, and why has no one been held accountable?
You've been listening to Taken Too Soon, a podcast by The Times.